Well, we've woken up to news that one of the most interesting topics in the NBA, most interesting subject matters, Kevin Durant. There's been a lot of talk about him. Will he stay with the Nets? Will he move?
Interesting.
We've woken up to news that he gets to stay with the Nets. He gets to share the same locker room with my very good friend.
Is Kyrie your good friend?
Yes, he is.
Kyrie is your good friend.
Is my friend.
Is it because of his character or his personality?
I think Kyrie is a wonderful human being. I think mostly
he's an enigma.
Mostly he's
misunderstood. Yeah,
he's an enigma.
He's misunderstood.
He believes in his ideals. I think he's a wonderful basketball player.
Amazing.
Miniature Zlatan.
No wonder he was in the top 75 all time. Yes, and so what do we look to seeing?
Kofi, for me, I think it's good news for the Nets roster. When Josiah said that they had met the general manager together with Wu Chai, her sister, and they had agreed that Kevin Durant would stay together with Kevin Durant and his manager as well, and Steve Nash. I personally was excited because the reason why he left the Golden State Warriors was to find himself in a team where he sees that this is my team. I want to lead the team.
Could be the main
he literally put together the entire roster because Kyrie said, hey, come, let's build something together. They realized that, okay, we needed a third factor. They brought in their own very good friend in, James Harden. It didn't work. James Harden had to leave because of all the issues surrounding Kyrie. I feel if Kevin Durant is fit, I would stand by this point anytime, any day. If Kevin Durant is fit, he's the best player in the world. One of the unguardable players in the world. A guy who last season was averaging almost 30 points per game, 29.9 points per game.
He's the second best player in the world.
If he's fit, we know that KD is the best player in the world. But we are not talking about LeBron now. So for me, I think it's good news for the roster if they're able to, because if you look at the Nets team, they have interesting players. Seth Curry, they have Andre Drummond.
Yes.
These guys are very, very good, role players. There's still Joe Johnson in there.
The powerful three-point shooter.
Then there is Ben Simmons. For me, I think that he's been robbed of the Defensive Player of the Year since 2017. He's an excellent defender. He cannot shoot to save his life, but he doesn't need to shoot to save his life. But defensively, he's very, very good.
So he's a great facilitator.
He's a great facilitator. If they're able to put himself, Kyrie, if they're able to put all the shenanigans together, I think they would make the Eastern Conference final. I don't know what you think.
But what do you think all of this leaves? Where do you think all of this leaves Steve Nash? I think that Steve Nash as a player, great player, but one of the players we talk about having a basketball IQ.
Of course.
But I mean, coaching is very difficult.
Very, very difficult for players.
This is more or less like talking about the Bulls team, the Bulls teams of the 90s. You would have to get an A-factor player who would be able to control the others little sub A's in it, and I think KD wants to become the figurehead. He doesn't want to run away from a fight because like you said, when he was at Golden State, he had Steph Curry being there.
But even that, he was the main man. He led them to the two championships.
But if you are talking about the main man,
it's Curry's team.
Yeah, it's Curry's team. So he had to spearhead something. And Jordan literally had to put things together. Okay, we have Rodman, who is a stubborn player, but there are times that you had Jordan go to his room in a hotel, sack the girls out, bring him to the field to train him so that just everything will go. And I think he realizes that, what do you call it? What's the name of it? Kyrie. He has the talent. It's just a little attitude. If we can brush off the attitude and put things, because that was what capitulated in last season.
Yeah.
Everything was going on well until all of these issues came up. So I think he wants to man up. He wants to stand up to things, and that is something that although we are not talking about LeBron, I would say LeBron has been able to do for the years that he has. I know you would disagree.
No, I'm not even using it. You made mention of Steve Nash. For me, it's great to be a basketball player, but transitioning from a player to a coach is a different ball game altogether. And we've seen a lot of people fail. Let's talk about, Jared Jackson coming in. He's a New York native coming in to coach the Nets. But I don't think that this is the time. KD actually requested that they do away with Steve Nash in the deal. I don't know if that would happen. Personally, I think that Steve Nash, it was a very bad mistake. If there's a mistake, that is bad. But it was terrible mistake for them to make, hiring Steve Nash, who had zero experience, whether from high school, from college, no basketball experience to handle this team. I hope that in the last 2-3 seasons he's learned enough to lead this Brooklyn Nets team, but I think that is not. Listen, one thing, despite everything we talk about the Golden State Warriors with amazing players and all of that, the man that has made the Golden State Warriors what it is Steve Kerr.
But I would also disagree.
But Steve Kerr has also had a lot of help from his assistants.
Yes. But you can also make a case for a coach who became successful with very little experience in Pat Riley.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, of course.
But you see, the Pat Riley experience,
he was an assistant.
No, the Pat Riley experience is a long time ago. And yes, if you look at Pat Riley and it's all of his transitions from making the Miami Heat a successful franchise. If you look at the Miami Heat, the franchise is totally different.
It's very, very different.
So the dynamics, I think,
I'm talking about the individual, as in talking about somebody with very, very little experience.
You know why? Yes, I mean, you could cite the Pat Riley experience, but I don't think the time was high. They were under so much pressure to win.
You're
talking about almost the best player in the world today. You understand? With all of the
before we go, we are going to do an extensive NBA whilst when they get to their training camps and all of that. So our viewers should expect a lot of NBA talk. Quickly before we go, LeBron signed a new deal, $97 million for 2 years. The second year he can opt out at any time he wants. When the new salary cap and the collective bargaining agreement is agreed on next season, it will jump to close to over $100 million. What does this new deal do for LeBron himself and the Lakers franchise? Quick one before we check out.
Quick one. I think that everybody agrees that last season was a disaster. Everybody agrees that last season in terms of the Lakers and the output and the recruitment and all of the drama around the team, it was an absolute disaster. It's led to coaches being fired.
Is Russell Westbrook still there?
I think he'll stay.
Is Carmelo still there?
Carmelo stayed.
Home.
I think that if you look at the Lakers, I mean, a lot of people have spoken about the fact that, LeBron, I've even read snipers that people think that LeBron needs to be traded, that Anthony Davis needs to be made the face, that is Anthony Davis fit enough to
this guy has never played a full season in his entire NBA career.
It's amazing.
I think that LeBron has been exceptional. We cannot leave out the LeBron talk. He's been absolutely exceptional, and if you look at what he's done with his life, getting this,
does he deserve the deal?
That's getting this extension,
almost $100 million for 2 years. Yeah, does he deserve it?
I think he does. I mean, listen, LeBron is 37, but he's still blockbuster. That's the point. I mean,
it's not only about the play. It goes beyond that.
And you see, he's a money-making machine.
Of course.
One of the few athletes to have hit the billionaire jackpot recently. You understand? I think that it's an absolute good deal. I've heard that the three of the superstars, Westbrook, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, they have decided to put all of the shenanigans together. They have decided to work together. I think the Lakers need a bit more depth. Last season, we did not get to see the best of Kendrick Nunn. In fact, he did not play.
He did not play.
Understand? And so those are the little dynamics that I think the Lakers need to.
Hopefully, when we do the NBA preview, we look at the Lakers, we look at the teams in the East, the teams in the West, and our viewers, our subscribers, listen, when it comes to NBA or other alternate sports, this is where to be. So we'll be doing an extensive preview of the NBA season 2023-2024, 2022-2023 season. You don't want to miss it. We'll talk about all your favorite teams, but we are just literally prepping you up. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, Sports 101 on YouTube. Watch our videos. And like we're doing for football, when the NBA season starts, we'll be giving out some amazing odds for you to make some quick cash on the side. My name is Lucky Soglu, and he's
Percy Bonnie.
Kofi Asedu.